In owning and handling any firearm, safety should be your first and foremost responsibility. Following are the 10 safety recommendations used and encouraged by responsible gun owners. All semi-automatic pistols operate on the same principle, once fired, to automatically reload a cartridge into the chamber and cock the hammer, ready to be shot again simply by squeezing the trigger. Here's how it works. Once you've determined that you are in a safe shooting area and you've put on your shooting glasses and ear protection, you then place the loaded magazine into the magazine well of the pistol. The slide of the pistol is then pulled back all the way and then released against the pulling action of the internal spring. The gun is now ready to shoot. A live round is in the chamber and the hammer is cocked. The remaining rounds are still inside the magazine that was inserted into the pistol. Once you pull the trigger, the hammer will fall and strike the firing pin, causing it to strike the primer in the bottom of the round of the ammunition. This causes a small explosion, or a spark. This in turn causes an ignition of the gunpowder inside the ammunition cartridge, which causes a rather large explosion. Now, because the gun and chamber and barrel are made of steel, the explosion finds the easiest way out of the gun, which is down and out of the barrel. But first, it must expel the bullet which is seated on top of or in front of the gunpowder. So, this explosion of gunpowder creates gases and pressure and forces the bullet down and out of the barrel at tremendous and deadly velocities. Additionally, these same gases cause the slide to be propelled backward. The bullet goes forward, the slide goes backward, and in doing so, it ejects the used cartridge from the chamber and cocks the hammer, while at the same time, the spring located at the bottom of the magazine forces a new live round of ammunition up into the chamber area, and the spring inside the slide of the pistol forces the slide forward, which picks up this same round and carries it into the chamber. The pistol is now ready to be shot again with a slight pull of the trigger. The pistol is now loaded and ready to shoot automatically. And that's how these semi-automatic pistols get their name, semi-automatic.
All right, shooter ready. Stand by.
Bill Wilson is a world-renowned gunsmith and competition shooter. He is an inventor and a writer, as well as the founder of Wilson's Gun Shop, located in Berryville, Arkansas, where they manufacture and distribute quality custom pistols and pistol parts and accessories for competition, law enforcement, military, and self-defense applications.
Okay, we're going to start off with talking about the proper stance. There's several different type of shooting positions that some of the top professional shooters use, and some of the top self-defense experts. We're going to basically talk about two different stances, the Weaver stance and the isosceles. First, we'll demonstrate the Weaver stance. That seems to be the most popular and seems to have the most recoil control for the average shooter. First off, we're going to go ahead and place the left foot forward, toe pointed downrange. The right foot's going to be considerably back, the toe pointed kind of off the angle like this. Okay, we're going to have the right arm is locked. We're going to lean slightly into the recoil position just like this. This gives you virtually maximum recoil control. It gives you a position where you can twist at the waist and engage several different targets at different angles. Something like this. Here's the proper arm positions for the Weaver stance. Notice my right elbow is locked. My left arm is, the elbow is slightly bent, and I'm actually pulling back into my right hand grip slightly. Okay, now we're going to talk about the other popular stance, which is called the isosceles stance. On the isosceles, you basically stand with your legs parallel to the firing line. I'll give you shooting downrange here. We're standing basically square with the targets. Okay, we'll go ahead and draw. We're basically locking straight out, leaning slightly in the recoil. This stance here, a lot of people feel, gives them more accurate control of the gun, but most people, I think, agree that you're giving up a little bit of recoil control over the Weaver style stance. Basically shoot with both elbows locked, standing square to the targets, leaning slightly in towards the gun, slightly into the recoil. Both of these stances have proven by some of the top shooters to be extremely efficient, and one is not necessarily better than the other, or one is correct and one isn't. You should try both of them and establish which of them works the best for you, and stick with the stance after you've made your selection. Okay, now we'll discuss the proper firing grip. We're going to demonstrate this with a 1911 style 45 auto, but the grip is basically the same for the Glock, the Beretta, the Smith & Wesson, SIGs, all the popular semi-automatic pistols. Okay, first off, we're going to come in with the web of our hand. We're going to go make a V, come right into the grip of the pistol. Close our hand around this way. Notice I'm gripping with these three fingers, the palm of my hand. What I'm trying to do, I'm gripping straight in with the pressure. I'm not trying to apply the pressure, get this, I'm not trying to apply pressure this way. I'm trying to apply the pressure this direction. So I'm gripping with the V of my hand, gripping straight in, and I'm going to wrap the left hand around. You can push this thumb into the side of the grip. It's a normal, two-handed hold firing grip that will enable you to control the recoil. Okay, now we'll discuss a grip that's popular with people with extremely large hands. Go ahead and we have the same grip here. With the left hand though, we're going to put the forefinger of your left hand in front of the trigger guard. Going to grip in this way. We're going to put our thumb on top of the thumb safety. I'm going to grip in this way. This is a real popular firing grip for people that have larger than average hands. You notice here that even though I'm holding down on the thumb safety, I'm staying away from the slide. You got to be careful not to push your thumb into the slide. You can skin the side of your thumb, and also you can slow the cycle time of the gun down and cause a ejection malfunction. Okay, we've described the two grips that are most popular. I personally prefer this grip right here, and I think most of the shooters use some variation of this grip style here. Okay, now we're going to discuss a couple of grips that are the wrong way to do it. Okay, you probably have seen on TV, seen people do the cup and saucer hole like this. Well, when you grip the gun like this, your left hand isn't stabilizing the gun at all as far as holding the gun steady, and it's doing no good whatsoever on recoil, because when you fire the gun actually kicks out of the palm of your hand. It doesn't do you any good at all. Okay, another kind of Hollywood famous type deal is gripping the gun like this. Right here, you're not doing anything to stabilize the wrist of your firing hand. You should just be shooting one-handed. I mean, it doesn't do you a bit of good over a one-handed stance.
And let's see the proper again.
Okay, you'll notice that I've got my right elbow locked. My left hand is pulling back into my arm, actually forming a triangle here. By holding it like this, we're getting our maximum recoil control, because as the gun recoils, it can't really come back. All you've got is just a vertical slight muzzle flip, and you're back on target again. As we explained, it's important to grip from front to back, and tension-wise, we're going to grip this gun as tight as we can comfortably grip it without causing any sort of tremors. We're going to grip just firm with the right hand. Okay, then the left hand, since it doesn't have to control the trigger, we're going to grip the left hand actually harder than we are the right hand. So we're doing a lot of the control of the gun with the left hand. Okay, we're going to discuss proper sight alignment now. Sight alignment means the relationship between the front sight and the rear sight. It's just a relationship between each other. Okay, the proper sight alignment, we're going to have the front sight centered in the rear notch of the rear blade, and the top of the front sight is going to be perfectly level with the top of the rear notch. Okay, centered, the front sight needs to be centered in the rear notch, and the top of the front sight perfectly level with the top of the rear notch. That's your proper sight alignment. Okay, for sight picture refers to after you get the proper sight alignment, you want your focus on the front sight. Notice this sight has serrations on the front. If you're properly focused, those serrations will be perfectly sharp and clear. Your target will be slightly blurry, and your rear notch will be slightly blurry. Okay, we're going to have our proper sight alignment, front sight centered in the rear notch, level with the top. Then we're going to have the top of the front sight on the portion of the target that you want to hit. So the target will be sitting directly on top of the front sight. And your focus on the front sight, target slightly blurry, rear sight slightly blurry. That's your proper sight picture for accurate shooting. Okay, now we're going to discuss the proper trigger pull. Okay, we take our firing grip, and we're going to place our finger in the trigger guard and on a position on the trigger pad that will have us basically on the right in front of the first joint of the finger, and try to keep this part of your finger from contacting the side of the frame. All you want to feel when you squeeze the trigger is the trigger itself. You want to feel the movement of the trigger, not your finger rubbing on the side of the frame. Okay, so we're going to get our grip, going to place our finger on the trigger, going to go up, and when you do the proper trigger pull, hammer falls, the front sight doesn't move. Do that again. You notice when the gun goes off, there's no movement in the gun whatsoever. What you don't want to do on your trigger pull is get on target, get your alignment proper like you're supposed to, and then jerk the trigger. Every time you do this, watch how much the muzzle of the gun moves. Magnify that by the distance of the target, and you'll see how far the shot will be off. Again, it's crucial. Go up, squeeze smooth. On a trigger that has a little bit of a pre-travel in the trigger, like a 1911, most guns that we've discussed have this. On a precision shot, you may want to actually even go up, take the take-up out, then squeeze the trigger. On target, take-up out, squeeze the trigger. Obviously, on extremely fast shooting, you won't have time to do that. One other thing that I'd like to discuss that you shouldn't do when you're firing these guns, if you shoot and you find out you continually seem to shoot high, what you may be doing, doing what we call healing the gun. You're getting on target, everything looks good, and you anticipate the recoil, and at the moment the gun is, as you're applying pressure to the trigger, you go like that. You kind of kick into the gun. You kind of, with the heel of your hand right here, you're anticipating, you're bracing yourself for that recoil, and you go like that. You throw the shot high, normally high left. Okay, none of the pistols we've discussed, either the 9mm, 40 S&W, 10mm, the 45 autos, none of these semi-auto cartridges have any appreciable recoil. If you take the proper stance, you take your proper firing grip, when you fire the gun, the recoil is easy to control. You're leaning into the recoil slightly, you're gripping the gun firmly with your right hand, and even tighter with your left hand. You've got your elbow locked, you're pulling back with your left hand. When the gun goes off, the recoil is easy to control. I'd like to discuss the various products and equipment that we're going to need to properly clean and lubricate these firearms. First, I'd like to mention the things you're going to need to actually do the cleaning. There's one product that you can use if you need to go ahead and clean an extremely dirty gun. You can step out of doors. The vapors aren't dangerous to you, and blast away pretty much all the crud with something called brake cleaner, or also Birchwood Casey makes a product called gun scrubber that's available in most sporting goods stores that does the same job. Also, another product that Birchwood Casey makes is called Sheath. It's a rust preventive product, and I highly recommend that product for the exterior of the gun for fingerprints and rust preventive measures. A product that I've used in the past and had good luck with as far as lubrication, that sort of thing. If you like a Teflon-based lubricant, is a product called Tough Oil. I think of the Teflon-based products, that's probably the very best. And then going to bore cleaning, Hoppy's Bench Rest number 9 appears to be the best bore cleaner that I've found to remove copper fouling. If you want to dissolve the copper fouling, it's one of the products that works, on the pretense of actually dissolving the fouling, and then you wipe it out. There's one product that we've developed, the Ultima Lube bore solvent, that works a different way. It actually works under the copper fouling and actually lifts it from the bore so you can scrub it out intact. There's less chance of any damage to your bore this way, and we found that it actually leaves a coating in the bore that reduces copper fouling the next time you use it. As far as lubrication, we spent a little over a year experimenting with all the various firearms lubricants on the market, and a lot of automotive lubricants, trying to find the best lubricant for firearms, especially the high-performance custom handguns that we build at Wilson's Gun Shop. We finally found what we thought was the very best. It turned out to be a combination of the best of several different products that are on the market, and found a lab that would produce the product for us. We do 2 different lubricants. We do an oil. This oil is a petroleum-based oil. It's the highest grade petroleum oil that we can find, and it's a non-naphthenic, or it has no paraffin base to it, so it won't cake up and form like a shellac in the gun if you store it for long periods of time. The additive that we use in this petroleum-based oil is a metal treatment additive. What it does, it actually ionizes with the metal and actually fills in the pores of the metal, and basically just forms a hard skin on the surface of the metal. You can actually put some of this product on a piece of metal and then try to, it's just a soft common piece of metal, and try to file it with a file, and the file will just skate across the top of it just like it's hard chromed. We found this to be one of the very best friction reducing products on the market. If you test this product in comparison to any gun lubricant on the market, you'll find that there is not any product on the market that will exceed it when it comes to sheer friction testing as far as like the bearing test and that sort of thing. We also do a grease, which I like for carry guns and for guns that are going to see a lot of hard usage and a lot of rounds and that sort of thing. Our grease is lithium based. Again, it's the highest grade lithium, base that we could find, and it also has an extremely high concentration of the metal treatment. So it does the same thing as the oil. It just has a tendency to stay where you put it a little bit better and withstand more rounds, before you have to reapply lubricant or clean the gun. A few other little odds and ends that you'll need to clean a gun properly. You'll need safety glasses for removing the recoil springs and that sort of thing. Need a silicone rag to wipe down the outside when you get done. Q-tips are handy for like the firing pin hole and the extractor hole, like on the 1911, and the Browning high power also. You'll need a bushing wrench for the 1911 style guns. You'll need a good cleaning brush, and this plastic brush with nylon bristles, I've modified the back end of it to make a little screwdriver blade type of an effect, and it's real handy to go ahead and get in the crevices of the slide rails and that sort of thing to clean them where you don't want to use a metal screwdriver. You need a good cleaning rod. I'd recommend aluminum or brass. You always want to use something that's softer than the bore you're going to be cleaning, so you don't take a chance of damaging the bore. You need a good jag to be able to push the patches through, and a good brass bristle brush, and some cotton cleaning patches, and a few paper towels are real handy also. That should be pretty much everything you should need to properly clean and maintain your firearms.
The CZ75 Auto Pistol is one of the most copied designs in modern handgun history. Many guns are patterned after this pistol, including Springfield's P9, European American Armory's Witness, and Action Arms AT-88S. These guns are almost identical to the original CZ75, with exceptions being the type of sights, hammer, and other modifications. This is a double-action semi-automatic pistol with a frame-mounted thumb safety. The magazine release can be switched to accommodate right or left-handed shooters. The CZ75 is available in 9mm only with a standard 15-round magazine capacity. Overall length is 8.1 inches and it weighs in at 35.3 ounces. Recommended self-defense ammo is shown. Bill Wilson describes the CZ75 and its variants for disassembly, cleaning, maintenance, and reassembly.
We're going to clean the CZ75. This is a Czechoslovakian made pistol, but also there's many other copies of it on the market these days. There's the EAA pistols, the Witness series, and there's still a lot of the Springfield Armory P9 series pistols available. They're all basically the same design, so the way we clean this pistol will be identical to any of the copies that are on the market. The first step in cleaning any handgun, or any gun of that for that matter, is to always make sure the gun is completely unloaded and safe. Remove the magazine and make sure it's empty. Go ahead and lock the slide back and visually examine the chamber to make sure there's no round left in there. This gun's empty, so we'll go ahead and start the disassembly. We're going to go ahead and show you the proper way to disassemble. We're going to clean the weapon and proper lubrication, show you all the lubrication points on the gun, and the proper reassembly. The first step in disassembly of the Czech 75, CZ75, is to retract the slide about 1/4 of an inch you'll notice right here there is 2 witness marks, one on the frame and one on the slide. You retract the slide until those 2 marks line up. At that point you can push the slide stop out. There we go. So this was pretty stiff. Push it on through and pull it on out. Okay, now you can let the slide go forward and the slide should come right off of the receiver. There we go. Okay, now we've got the slide assembly and they're off the receiver there. The next step will be to remove the recoil spring, and for that you'll always want to wear some safety glasses anytime you're handling a compressed spring. The recoil spring, all you do is just compress it forward slightly and lift it off the lug on the bottom of the barrel. Release the tension easily. You can lay it to the side now. To remove the barrel, we just grab the bottom lug, lift up, pull the barrel out to the rear. Okay, the gun is disassembled now for a normal cleaning. We'll start with putting a little Ultimalube bore solvent in the bore. We'll go ahead and put that in now so it can be soaking and loosening the copper fouling while we're cleaning the rest of the gun. I actually recommend that you, if possible, that you let the bore soak about 2 hours. That gives the opportunity for the solvent to loosen all the copper fouling, and you can get the bore completely clean with very minimal elbow grease when you go to run the brush through it. We'll run that patch through a couple of times, make sure we get a good coating of solvent in the bore there. The Ultimalube solvent actually works different than most other solvents. It actually lifts the copper fouling out of the pores of the metal and enables you to just brush it out rather than dissolving it like most other solvents on the market. Okay, we'll let that barrel soak while we do the rest of the cleaning. We'll start out with the slide. As you'll notice, the slide rails are on the exterior of the Czech 75, unlike most other pistols on the market, which have them on the inside. Makes it actually easier to clean that area. I'm just using a common paper towel here to get the excess off. If the gun is extremely dirty, you can take a product like gun scrubber or some common brake cleaner and blast all the crud out of it. You'll want to go ahead on the breech face and brush all the fouling and everything off the breech face. It's extremely important to keep the breech face real clean so the cartridge rim will slide up under the extractor easily and not slow down the cycling. Okay. Make sure we get everything out of the slide rails. There we go. Okay, the receiver's a little bit harder to clean because we're working the inside. The rails are on the inside now. But the Czech 75 is one of those guns that everything is extremely easy to get to, so it's actually one of the easier guns to maintain. Okay. Use a nylon bristle brush to get in there and make sure you get everything out of the frame rails. You always want to pay particular attention to the area that's in the vicinity of where the chamber is, the back of the chamber when the gun is assembled. That's normally one of the places that has the most fouling and needs the most attention. Okay. Wipe the slide stop shaft off and let's have the lug there. Okay. So you get all the fouling and build up off the feed ramp. ahead and change to our brass brush now. If you let the bore set for a couple hours, normally all you have to do is just run the tight-fitting brass brush through the barrel about 15 or 20 times, and it will normally take all of the copper fouling out. It's really very minimal amount of work. You want to always run the cleaning brush all the way through the bore and not reverse its direction while it's inside the barrel. That'll normally destroy the cleaning brush and just by doing it just one time. That should be good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the jag back on the rod now and run patches through till we get a clean patch. If you run a cleaning patch through after you've attempted to remove the copper fouling and the patch comes out with a little bit of a greenish cast to it, that normally lets you know that there's still copper fouling in the bore, that you'll need to reapply a solvent and go through that procedure again. When the patches start coming out completely clean, you'll know that you've got it all out. Looks like this one's going to clean up pretty good. Things centered here. There we go. Patch is coming out clean. Should be in good shape there. Yeah, it looks real good. Okay, we'll go on now to the proper lubrication points of this gun. Since this is mainly a carry type gun, I'm going to go ahead and lubricate with the Ultima Lube grease. I prefer this over the oil for any use other than in extremely cold weather. We're going to go ahead and lubricate and assemble the slide assembly first. We'll want to go in and lubricate right in front of the locking lugs and right on the top of each locking lug. Okay, we'll want to go ahead and lubricate in the groove on the slide. Just a little fine line of grease. Get on both sides. Okay, and then on the barrel, we'll want to go ahead and put a little lube top there too. And the lug here that the slide stop cams on to lock and unlock the pistol, we'll want to lubricate inside of it. Okay, and then we'll want to lubricate the exterior of the barrel. Go ahead and put a liberal amount on there and spread it out evenly. Okay, go ahead and slide the barrel into the slide now. Goes in muzzle first, drops in and locks back. Recoil spring, guide it in, and then hold it with kind of cupped with your hand and compress it and lock in. Right in the center there's a little bump on the back of the guide and a little recess in the barrel there. You want to make sure that seats into place to hold it. Okay, that's a slide assembly ready to go. On the receiver, basically all we've got to do is lubricate inside the groove the same as we did on the slide. Okay, and we'll want to go ahead and lubricate right here and right here. Okay, that's really about all we need to do on the CZ75. To reassemble the receiver on the slide assembly, we'll hold the slide upside down. We'll start the rails on there. Okay, and as I showed you on the disassembly, we'll line up the two index marks there, and the slide stop should just punch straight in. There we go. The gun is reassembled. We'll go ahead and cycle it a few times to spread the lube out evenly. And now we'll go ahead and take a paper towel and wipe off the minimal amount of excess lube. Usually the back of the frame, the slide rails, is the main place that needs attention, and the front of the slide right here. Get the excess off. And then I always like to wipe the gun down with a silicone rag, or spray the exterior with sheath, Birchwood Casey sheath, to prevent having any surface rust problems on the exterior of the gun. Okay, there we have the properly cleaned and lubricated Check 75. All right, we've let our extremely filthy slide soak while we're working on the barrel and the receiver with bore solvent in it. And so we're going to go ahead now and we're going to scrub out the worst of it with a nylon bristle brush. The bore solvent should have loosened this stuff up. Gonna brush out the breech face now too. This is a technique that is usually necessary. If you let one go too long, you shoot a few too many rounds through it, and shoot exclusively lead ammunition with cast bullets. Okay, that should pretty well get that clean. Let me grab some brake cleaner here. We'll go ahead and gun scrubber is good for this also, or just your common brake cleaner from the automotive parts store. You need to always be sure and wear rubber gloves where you're going to get this on you, and also do it in the outdoors where the fumes won't asphyxiate you. That should be pretty well clean. Okay, we'll go ahead now and blow this dry. If you have an air compressor, that's the easiest way. If not, you can even use a hair dryer, or you can just let it air dry. There we are, sparkling clean.
The CZ75 and its variants are very accurate and fast-shooting pistols. If you practice with them and use a firm grip and aggressive shooting stance, you will be able to shoot as fast and accurately as Bill Wilson demonstrates here. One of the questions I had is the current state of ammunition? There used to be a lot of corrosive ammunition and versus non-corrosive ammunition. What's the difference between those, corrosive versus non-corrosive, in particular towards cleaning your gun and having to clean your gun right away, or can you shoot nowadays and then shoot again 2 weeks later, then clean it 2 weeks after that?
Regarding corrosive ammunition, there's a lot of cheap Egyptian ammunition available these days that is corrosive primed, and some of it is corrosive powder even. And what we have here is something that will corrode the barrel extremely fast. If you use corrosive ammunition, you need to thoroughly clean the gun within a matter of hours. We're talking about complete stripping. I mean, strip the gun down to its bare essentials and scrub everything out with a good solvent, and then reapply a good coat of lubricant, especially in the bore of the gun, because it will damage the bore extremely fast.
How do you know if you have corrosive ammo? Will it say corrosive, or?
Typically, it won't say corrosive. When you purchase it, anything that's non-corrosive will obviously be labeled as non-corrosive, because that's a big selling point. If your ammunition is not labeled non-corrosive, you should try to find out all the information you can about it, and see if you can determine whether it does have corrosive priming or not.
If you're shooting non-corrosive ammo, which I assume that all American manufacturer current ammunition is non-corrosive, how often do you have to clean your gun?
Okay, shooting non-corrosive ammunition, typically jacketed ammunition, you can go approximately 500 rounds between cleanings and still have total reliability. With lead bullets, especially cast lead bullets that have bullet lube on them, you really should clean the gun every 200 or 300 rounds. A lot of people go more than that, but if you want to really reduce the chance of having any malfunction due to the gun being dirty, we recommend 200 to 300 rounds.
Does the cleaning process enhance accuracy whatsoever?
Yes, if you shoot a gun enough that you get a lot of copper fouling in the bore, or if you shoot especially a gun with lead bullets and get a large amount of lead buildup in the bore, it can not only increase your group sizes, but it can also increase the pressure of your cartridges considerably.
Now, I watched when you were cleaning the guns, you really didn't use a whole lot of solvent, particularly on the frame. On a lot of those guns, you were just brushing away the dry material, the powder, the burnt powder. Do you need to use a whole lot of solvent?
How much solvent you use and whether or not you use an aerosol degreaser and that sort of thing totally depends on how dirty the gun is. You know, most of the guns we cleaned here had been shot with jacketed ammunition, and even though some of them have been shot in excess of 500 rounds, you know, the buildup is not so bad that you can't clean it with a minimum amount of solvent and with a dry paper towel. If you have a gun that has been shot a lot with lead bullets and you got a lot of powder fouling buildup, you'll save yourself a lot of elbow grease by going ahead and putting solvent on the caked on areas and letting it soak for a while.
Now, the lubrication, you stressed not to use too much lubrication, and you showed where to do it, but is there ever a point when you can not use enough lube? I mean, if you especially use that the gunk off or the brake cleaner, you're really stripping all the lubrication off there at all. Is there a potential of not being able to use enough lubrication? Would it damage your gun?
Only if you don't put any lubrication on bearing surfaces, on actual wear points. That's one of the things we stressed here is the proper areas to lubricate, the areas that do have the high stress, that have the most friction. As long as those areas are properly lubricated, there's really not much danger of any damage to the gun. There's actually more problem with over-lubrication because it makes the gun collect a lot more firing residue, collect a lot more dust, and actually excessive lube with a lot of dust buildup in the gun can actually cause more wear and tear on the gun than being a little bit under-lubricated. One thing I might add right here is the Ultimate Lube line of products. They actually leave a protective plating on the finish of the gun that even if it's basically dry to the touch, you still have a certain amount of wear protection on the surface of the metal.
Do you ever suggest, and we haven't seen it in any of the disassemblies that we've seen on the tapes, the series of tapes, complete disassembly, like in the minute little pieces? Is that something that the average person should attempt to do?
In most instances, no. About the only gun that we've done in this series of tapes that really applies that is a 1911 style gun, because it is so easy to fully disassemble. And even on that gun, though, there's no reason to fully disassemble it except about every 5,000 rounds, or if it's been out in extremely harsh conditions, you know, a lot of dust and everything like that.
Can you accomplish the same thing by just putting the whole gun into a bucket of solvent versus complete disassembly?
Yeah, a lot of times people will just remove all the grips, you know, especially any plastic parts, and if the gun does not have tritium night sights on it, you can actually just field strip the gun as we've done, and then you can go ahead and just dunk the entire gun and brush it off while it's under solvent, or you can actually just blast it all clean with like the brake cleaner or some gun scrubber, something like that.
You know, every once in a while, when I take my gun apart, and this is kind of a dumb question, but is there a right way or a wrong way to put the recoil springs on? Or are they both, either way they go?
Most recoil springs can go in either way. There is like the variable pitch springs that have a front and a back, but most of the recoil springs, if there is a specific end that is the back, or the end that would go on the guide rod first, that end will be closed in, and the other end will be more of an open coil.
Now, when you store your guns for short term, say the average gun owner, and he wants to put his gun underneath the bed, and he may not shoot it for a year or 2 years. I don't know if that's long-term storage or short-term storage. What's the best way to go ahead and do that so it won't rust and it won't, you know, be ready to shoot when he pulls it out?
For 1 to 2 years, something like that. The best thing to do is to make sure you wipe the gun down real good, and then give it a real good coat of something like Birchwood Casey sheath on the outside. And then a new product that's on the market is these Bianchi blue envelopes that they sell to put guns in. They have a rust preventive chemical in them, and that'd be good to go ahead and drop the gun in one of those also if you can leave it that long of a term.
You know, we talked about powder and powder burning. That seems to be a large portion of the dirt you find in a gun. Is there a cleaner burning powder or cleaner bullets that if a shooter's reloading that he should use if he doesn't want to have as much residue?
Well, there's been lots of advances made on that in the last few years. Actually, just even the last year, there's been lots of new powders that are extremely clean burning. A lot of the super light series from Winchester is extremely clean burning. Hodgdon has universal clays out there now that is extremely clean burning. Some of the solo powders are extremely clean burning. As far as bullets, jacketed bullets always leave the inside of the gun cleaner than lead bullets, and that's about the only other compromise there. There's a lot of people that use the plated bullets. They're about halfway in price between lead and jacketed, and they have the clean shooting advantages of jacketed with only slightly more cost than lead.
WD-40 can't do it. Rem oil can't do it. Outers can't do it. Break Free can't either. Can your gun lubricant measure up to the Ultima Lube Challenge? Ultima Lube is the state-of-the-art in firearms lubrication. Ultima Lube virtually to metal friction by the use of high-quality conventional lubricants as a carrier and electrochemical ionization utilizing anti-friction metal treatment technology. Ultima Lube virtually plates the metal contact surfaces, forming a friction-free surface, galling and surface wear from the cycling action of the firearm. Additionally, Ultima Lube makes it easier to clean and maintain your firearms because it reduces the buildup of carbon fouling and powder residue. And Since Ultimalube actually fills the microscopic pores of the metal surface, these surfaces retain adequate lubrication far longer than other conventional products. Bill Wilson is the founder of Wilson's Gun Shop in Berryville, Arkansas. He's an inventor, writer, world-renowned gunsmith, and a championship competition shooter. He explains the Ultimalube challenge and demonstrates the outstanding properties of Ultimalube.
We're here today to compare the Ultimalube products to some of the more popular lubricants on the market. But first I'd like to explain the machine we're going to test this with. This is a machine that was developed by a lab that makes all types of lubricants, mostly for the automotive industry. What we're doing here, we've got a bearing that's mounted on the shaft that's powered by the motor, and a bearing that's on the little rocker arm here. What happens when it's lower down here, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure between these two bearing surfaces. We've got a very minute amount of bearing surface and a tremendous amount of pressure on it. Just to show you that there is a tremendous amount of pressure there, I'll put a piece of paper between the two of them here, and just the weight of the arm here. See, I can't even pull that paper out of there. What we've got here, got a calibrated scale here that will give us the actual poundage that we're putting on the bearing here. When we pull it down to 10-pound rating here, we're actually applying 10 pounds of pressure right here, 20, etc. So that'll be our reference point there to see how much actual pressure we're putting on the lubricant, you know, between the two bearing surfaces. First we're going to test rim oil by Remington. First we'll show the camera here that we have a new bearing. We'll load the bearing into the holder here. Goes in like so. Clamp the bearing in place. Load it on the machine there. Give the bearing here a good coat of rim oil. Okay, you can see there we've got a good coat of rim oil on the bearing surfaces there. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and run the machine at 10 pounds of pressure, 10 actual pounds right here, for a time period of 5 seconds. Then we'll pull the bearing off and see what it looks like. Okay, whenever you're ready. Start. Get a little smoke coming off of it there. Okay. As you can see, there's considerable damage to the bearing. Okay, what we'll do now, we'll put it back on there. We'll see how many additional pounds of pressure it takes to get that bearing to seize. Go and give it another good coat of oil. About 38 pounds. You can see it virtually welded itself to the shaft there. See the additional damage to the bearing. Okay, now we're going to try a WD-40. Got another new bearing, as you can see. Go ahead and load it into the holder. See, we've got a fresh surface there. Put some WD-40 on it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go 10 pounds for 5 seconds and then see what the bearing looks like. Okay. Okay, very comparable damage to the rim oil. Okay, now we'll go ahead, put it back on, and see how far it'll go before it's seized. we go. Seized at about 48 pounds there, but it was trying to seize at about 30. See the tremendous amount of damage to it now. Okay, now we're going to try the Outers gun oil. The Outers oil is basically the same product as far as running on this test as the Hoppy's gun oil. You can see we've got another fresh bearing loaded in here. You have a fresh surface. You'll also notice that we have a fresh surface on our bearing here. We've been polishing that between each test so we get a fair and accurate comparison. Okay. You can see we've got a good coat of gun oil on the bearing. Again, now we're going to run 10 pounds for 5 seconds. Okay, are we ready? Okay. See our damage there, the bearing. A little bit less than what we had with the WD-40 and the rim oil. But nevertheless, we've actually damaged the bearing. Okay, now we'll go ahead and see how many pounds it takes to get it to seize. Okay. You can see the additional damage, and it went a little over the 50-pound mark to get it to seize. You'll note that as we're doing this, you'll hear a squealing noise from the contact surfaces, the metal on the bearings. Anytime you have that squealing noise, you can be assured that you're doing some metal damage. Okay, now we will compare the break free. Again, we get another new bearing. Go ahead and load it. We'll go ahead and apply a good coat of break free. See, we get a good coat of it there. Okay, again, we're going to do 10 pounds for 5 seconds again, and look at bearing. Are we ready? Okay. Noticeably less damage than the other products we've tested so far. But nevertheless, we have actual damage to the metal surface. Okay, we'll go ahead and see how far to go before it seizes. Seized at a little bit over 50 pounds, but before the scale bottomed out, see the metal damage. Notice the squealing that the machine was making. Anytime the bearing is squealing like that, we're definitely damaging the surface. Okay, now we're going to test our Ultima Lube oil. Again, we have a new bearing. And load the bearing in the holder here. I might mention again that this machine was developed for the automotive industry primarily to test engine oil additives such as Slick 50, STP, that sort of product. Okay, we'll go ahead and load it on the machine. Put our Ultima Lube on the bearing surface. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to give it 10 pounds for 5 seconds. Are we ready? Okay. Look at our metal damage, if the camera can pick it up. Bearing surfaces right there.
So it's more of a polish.
Yeah, actually just polish the metal. You can't really feel anything with your fingernail. Okay, now we'll see what it'll do about seizing up. You notice that there was no squealing sound whatsoever. Held it at 50 pounds for, I would say, at least 5 seconds there. Notice lack of real damage to the metal. Just got a polish mark. Okay, now we will test the Ultima Lube grease. Have a new bearing. Go ahead and load the bearing in. Okay, we'll go ahead and put a good coat of Ultima Lube grease. Okay, we'll do the same test now. We'll do 10 pounds for 5 seconds. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Notice there, just a slight shiny mark. Basically the same amount of polish that we had with the oil. Okay, now we'll go ahead and apply, like I said, spread the existing grease out there. We'll see how far it'll go now before we get it to seize. Maxed out the gauge at well over 50 pounds. And as you can see, again, we just have a small shiny spot. No metal damage. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to apply the Ultima Lube oil again, and we're going to go ahead and then after we work the lube around on both surfaces, we're going to wipe all the excess lube off. We basically have 2 dry parts, and then we're going to run the same test to see if the Ultima Lube can still pass just with the residual film that lives on it. Excess off there. Okay, notice both surfaces are dry. Okay, we'll do the same 10 pounds for 5 seconds. Are we ready? Okay. You notice the protective film from the ionization has actually protected the metal even though it appeared to not have any lubricant on it. This is what will happen with your firearm when you feel like you have already used up all the lubricant on it. It will still be protecting the contact surfaces.
Wilson's, the choice of champions. For more than 15 years, Bill Wilson has been at the forefront of competitive pistol shooting. First, as a champion masterclass competitor and an internationally recognized pistol smith. Today, Wilson is known as the world's leading manufacturer of pistol parts and accessories for both competition and self-defense handguns. From the classic competition match trigger to the all-new Ultima Lube high-tech gun lubricants, Wilson's Gun Shop continues to be the leading innovator of quality parts and accessories for competition and self-defense handguns. Wilson's Gun Shop is dedicated to being the nation's #1 custom handgun and accessory company by not only offering the highest quality and service, but by providing you with the most complete selection of precision parts and accessories for all types of handgunning. Wilson's gunsmithing and competition-proven auto pistol accessories have been used by champions for more than 15 years and continue to be so, as they were an integral part of the pistol used by Jerry Barnhart in his winning bid for the 1992 USPSA National Championship.
The gun is probably the easiest gun I've ever had to shoot. It feels like it's shooting itself, and I'm just standing there holding it. You know, I really like the gun. You know, as usual, Wilson did a good job as far as putting it together. It's super accurate, it's reliable. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
The Wilson Combat Shock Buff has been a standard of champion competition shooters for more than 10 years. Its performance has been competition proven, as over 600,000 units have been sold. The original Wilson Combat Shock Buff is still the best, and the new Shock Buff recoil systems are designed to improve functioning, accuracy, safety, and of course, to extend the life of your gun by absorbing some of the pounding from heavier loads. The Wilson Combat Guide Rods and the patented Group Gripper Kits improve accuracy of stock barrels by forcing the rear of the barrel up into the locking lugs of the slide under heavy spring tension. 8 different models are available to help you get the most accuracy and reliability with your handgun. Wilson's manufactures a complete line of high-quality auto pistol sights. From the original #3 Wilson Combat High Visibility Combat Sights to the new #367T Night Eyes Tritium Insert Night Sights, incorporating the famous 3-dot sight picture, which is ideal for shooting in low light conditions. And when it comes to competition auto pistol accessories, there's no match to Wilson's quality and selection. Wilson's rounds out its line of parts and accessories with the highest quality barrels and compensator kits available, and a complete selection of Series 47 advanced pistol magazines. These items adhere to the most stringent tolerances in the industry. As American Handgunner magazine says, Wilson's parts and accessories are matched only by the quality and beauty of the pistols produced by the master craftsmen at Wilson's Gun Shop. Exacting attention to detail is what sets a Wilson combat pistol apart, from the precisely hand-cut metal checkering to the exquisitely hand-polished finish. Every facet of a gun destined to wear the proud hallmark of Wilson combat is brought to the highest level of perfection. It's not just the flawless cosmetics either. Inside the heart of a Wilson combat pistol, you'll find the same dedication to detail. The slide-to-frame fit is meticulously matched for maximum accuracy and reliability. The trigger action is perfected with the most advanced Wilson combat components and then honed with skilled hands for a light, crisp let-off. And the match-grade Wilson barrel is precisely hand-fitted for X-ring accuracy. Wilson's custom handguns are the standard by which all others are measured. The highest quality parts, the most innovative designs, and the best service in the industry. Quality. It's not just a concept, it's a way of life at Wilson's, the choice of champions.
Learn the secrets of the master pistolsmiths at Wilson's Gun Shop with this informative video series, Combat Customizing the 1911 Auto, as done by the professionals at Wilson's Gun Shop. 4 different volumes containing over 7.5 hours of the highest quality pistol smithing work ever recorded on videotape. You'll see how to take an out-of-the-box .45 auto and watch the best pistol smiths in the world turn it into a custom combat 1911 for self-defense and competition. Wilson's Gun Shop, in association with Lenny McGill Productions, introduces an informative series of video programs designed to help all gun owners shoot better, understand how semi-automatic pistols operate, disassemble, lubricate, and maintain, and then reassemble 7 of the most popular semi-automatic pistols in the world: Glock, Beretta, 1911 style, Sig Sauer P226, Browning BDM and Browning High Power, Smith & Wesson 5906, and the CZ75 and its variants. Each tape is over 70 minutes in length, and each shows disassembly, how and where to lubricate, and complete reassembly. Plus special segments on how to shoot, proper sight picture and sight alignment, fast shooting segments with Bill Wilson, and lots more. Wilson's Gun Shop presents 2 informative books featuring the more than 20 years of knowledge and insight of Bill Wilson, world-renowned pistol smith, competition shooter, inventor, and founder of Wilson's Gun Shop. The Combat Auto, with over 230 pages, reveals the secrets of how to fine-tune a 1911 style pistol for self-defense or competition. Many excellent photographs and to-the-point information about which modifications are worthwhile and which are a waste of money. The Combat Auto, written by Bill Wilson. As a follow-up to his first book and the Combat Customizing video series, Wilson's Gun Shop presents Combat Customizing the 1911 Auto, a book featuring everything you need to know about customizing the 1911 style auto pistols. Many excellent photos and straight, easy-to-follow direction on how to customize your pistol. 200 pages, Combat Customizing the 1911 Auto, written by Bill Wilson. Bill Wilson, Ken Hackathorn, and Lenny McGill Productions have teamed together to produce the most informative, technically correct approach to modern defensive pistol tactics and shooting techniques ever released on videotape. 12 titles in all, packed with the latest on skills, drills, equipment, mindset, tactics, and shooting techniques, plus a whole lot more. Wilson and Hackathorn are both experts in their fields, and Lenny McGill Productions is known worldwide for its high-quality firearms-related video productions. Together, they have created a series of programs that will entertain, amaze, inform, and make you aware of the tactics you need to survive a real gunfight. Basic Self-Defense Handgun Use and Safety is a two-part set covering the basic fundamentals of shooting: grip, stance, sight picture, sight alignment, and trigger pull. Plus, informative segments on self-defense pistols and ammunition. What happens in a real gunfight? What gun is best for you? 9mm versus 45, and lots more.
Start to think about how can I practice and train that's going to increase my chance of survival.
Advanced Self-Defense Shooting Tactics and Techniques is a 5-part series that takes the viewer to a new level in both shooting skills and tactical knowledge. Extensive discussions and demonstrations on the use of cover, shooting while moving, both towards and away from your target. You'll learn the advantages of a speed reload versus a tactical reload, aimed fire versus flash sight picture versus point shooting, using your vehicle for cover, shooting from a vehicle, 2 shots versus 1 shot. Over 5 hours in all of the finest pistol instruction techniques in the world.
One of the best lines I've heard, and it's a great one, is people saying, what's the best weapon you can have? It's your mind.
Combat Ready Self-Defense Shooting Practice Drills is the first program ever that takes you into the practice routines of 2 of the finest pistol shooters in the world. Bill Wilson and Ken Hackathorn share 20 years of experience as they show you how to practice like a pro and increase your skill level faster and easier.
You seen both the front post
Oh yeah, on that kind of a shot, I'm getting a true sight picture.
and you've seen the both front and rear sight?
Oh yeah, front and rear sight, good alignment, really paying attention to the front sight. Actually, just like I would be taking a 25-yard precision shot.
Nightmaster, low-light shooting and flashlight techniques, is an up-to-date look at the equipment and tactics needed to successfully utilize a handheld light source in an armed encounter. Wilson and Hackathorn demonstrate the latest flashlights, their advantages and disadvantages, and how to use them for your tactical advantage.
Indoors, sometimes you can't move a big distance, but if you're here and you're illuminated and all of a sudden you see a threat, 1 step to the right, 1 step to the left, either way, to get out of that zone where the incoming fire may be returned to.
House Clearing and Cornering Tactics and Techniques is a 75-minute program that shows you how to enter a house or room and increase your chance for survival. Plus, you'll learn how to maintain cover, why to stay out of the fatal funnel, how to look for and avoid telegraphing target indicators, and the importance of maintaining distance from walls and cover. Plus, a very graphic demonstration of cover versus concealment as Wilson and Hackathorn shoot through ordinary walls and cinder blocks.
So unlike the normal indoor walls, sheetrock walls, which in reality are just concealment, concrete blocks, in fact, provide very good cover.
Practical Concealed Carry is a 90-minute program that shows the basics of concealed carry, how to fit a holster to your body, over 6 different methods of carry, live fire drills, pocket holsters, safety, and lots more.
The virtue of the fanny pack is that if you're in that proverbial summer evening going out for dinner and you're just wearing a pair of shorts and a polo short or a t-shirt, the fanny pack gives you a means of carrying a little bit more substantial firearm and having it readily available.
Building the ultimate 1911 self-defense handgun is designed to save you time and money. The master gunsmiths of Wilson's Combat demonstrate advanced gunsmithing techniques as Bill Wilson and Ken Hackathorn discuss what are the most practical and necessary custom procedures for your 1911 handgun. Overall, this new series of 12 professionally produced videos is one of the finest resources of self-defense handgun shooting tactics and techniques in the world. Brought to you by Wilson Combat.